Welcome along everybody to this review of Granblue Fantasy Relink. In the background you're going to have some footage just of some quests that you do post mission, and yeah, the sound's pretty quiet, so it is what it is. But you're going to hear me talking anyway. So a couple of things I just want to talk about the game. I've just rolled the credits. I'm still currently doing some of the post credit stuff, which you can see in the background. So I've tried to stay away from too many spoilers, but if there are some, I apologise in advance. But it's going to be a quick fire review anyway. If when you finally come around to see the sort of review and end credits, I give away some of the things in there as well. I just want to consolidate them into one, and it's release day for the PC. So I just want to showcase everything there. So things to point out. So let's talk about first off the gameplay. Action RPG, you need to talk about the gameplay, and the gameplay is solid in this one. I'm using Namara here, who's like a samurai person. I didn't pick her up until post-game, and wish I'd picked her up actually during the mission, during the story, because if you're unaware, you get a base of, I think, 6 characters, and then as you progress, you can unlock more characters. And one of the things I said in my review as at the end of the credits was, it felt like that was set up to be a gacha mechanic that they then just pulled. Because you get crew cards, and from the crew cards you can unlock people, but you can't unlock everyone during the campaign. I'm currently unlocking everyone after the campaign, and the characters aren't in any of the cutscenes. So it's not really gameplay side, but yeah, you can see sort of where I'm going from is I didn't unlock this character because yeah, you only get certain characters to choose from, but you basically have square and triangle on the PlayStation controller as your attacks, and then you can use R1 to go into some skills. There's dodging, there's lock on, there's guard, there's all of this stuff, and it's really fun gameplay. Is it going to be as good as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Probably not in terms of how it goes, but each character that I've played so far has played completely different, including all of the range ones. So the few range ones I've unlocked have all played differently. So if you find a character you like, you're really going to have a good time with the combat. It's really satisfying. Not too much more to say about that. I think it's just, yeah, it is what it is. As you see in the screen, you have your normal sort of attacks. You can go into combos. You go into things like what's done there, which is called break. So there's a bar sort of above the head of this griffin that we're fighting. Once that's done there, you break him, and it just makes him susceptible. Then you've got your SBAs, which is what this is, which is like your ultimate attacks type thing, and you can chain them up with everyone and get a full burst. I don't think I get a full burst on this one because Lancelot's not anywhere near. I think I get a trio. But yeah, you get that, and it sort of all comes up, and you can do link attacks, so you team up with other people and come in. It's just really fun, really easy to understand. Difficult to master is probably what I'd say, but the gameplay really solid if you're into that type of this type of game. You've got nothing to worry about there. Let's touch on the story. So story-wise, I quite like the story. It was pretty decent. Sort of coming into a new way. I didn't know anything about Granblue Fantasy before coming into the game, so there's a couple of things that are like not 100% sure about of their motivations to be where they are. There is a series on YouTube that you can understand if you wanted to get the story. But yeah, likable story. Yeah, it's predictable, but it's not terrible. Art style wise, you can see here, this for me takes its inspiration from the Tales games, or that type of art style. It's not the prettiest game in the world, like the red aura around the griffin is a bit but it's not dreadful. And I've heard a few people say that this game looks horrible. I think it's actually, for the art style that it goes against, it works really well. Again, just not the best looking. There are better looking games on there, but you can see what it is on here. This is playing in performance mode, so going for 60 frames a second rather than 4K, as then being played on the PlayStation 5. A few surprises for me. So the voice acting in this game is tremendous, absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed the voice acting in this, and yeah, and the variety of characters is, again, I just want to mention again, is really good. There will be a character here that you like. Other things to note is the music in this game is really on point as well. I was not expecting that So there's sort of the good things. Coming on to some of the bad things to say, it's a bit of a quick fire review, but just to give you an overall view. The game's not hard. I think I had 2 game overs, and that's when I was fighting a 30 level higher enemy in a frozen zone. That was a proper challenge. Some of the bosses did give me a bit of run for money, but the way that death works in this mechanic is you get down to 0 and you can mash some buttons and you fill up a gauge and then you can revive, or you can use what's actually the bottom of the D-pad there, revive potion, or your friends can come over and get you. I'm playing on the computer here, but your friends can come over and revive you, and it's really lenient on that sense that yeah, it's difficult to game over actually. Say barring the 2 that I got against the super tough enemy, yeah, I didn't get any game overs, and that's probably my one disappointment in this. I've just unlocked the hard, this is hard mode quests. It's still not difficult, just about to unlock very hard missions, and then there's an ultimate difficulty above that, but you can scale up with that. But difficulty wise, it's not that difficult. If you're coming in here thinking for a super challenging game, yeah, you're not going to get one. It's pretty simple, but that's not a bad thing. Not every game has to be massively difficult, but I was just hoping when there was a difficulty slider that you could choose between easy and hard, that it was going to be harder than it was. So that's what I don't like. And again, the other thing, the story campaign is 10 chapters, including like a epilogue final battle. So it's quite short. You're not going to get massive replay, massive longevity out of just the story. But where you do get the longevity, and what I've seen in the post game, is there's a lot to do post game. I think I've just scratched the surface of this. So for me, this is like a weaker sort of Monster Hunter game, where Monster Hunter is, the story, if you want to blitz through it, is really, really short. But what Monster Hunter has that this doesn't is the grind in between. And the grind in Monster Hunter is actually good. But you go and get the parts and upgrade your weapons and stuff. You don't really get that in this, but it's that type of thing where, you only have a few sort of main missions, but say Monster Hunter, you have to do some prep work to get through the main missions. This you can just go through, and I end up, becoming a bit lax as I was fighting. So yeah, the length is quite short. Difficulty is really easy, and as I said before, I think the initial plans was for this to become a gacha. Because of the way the character unlocks work, it's just ripe for this being a gacha. It's not. It's completely, once you're one and done, once you've paid your money, you can get access to all the content. I just don't think it was set up that way, and that's, it's come from a mobile gacha game, so that's where I've got that assumption from. If in the development cycle they've never even thought of that, then I will take that comment back. But yeah, quick fire, rapid review of Granblue Fantasy Relink. Thoroughly enjoyed the game. I'm going to do as much content of it as I can post. I'm not going to show everything personally because it feels a bit weird to showcase the same sort of quests going over again. But I have enjoyed my time with this. I've probably put in about 30 hours at this point. Maybe a little bit less, between 25 and 30 hours, I think, to roll the credits and then get a good enough understanding going through some of the quests after the story has finished. Sort of in an epilogue sort of mission with one of the characters to do some stuff. And yeah, I'm about 25 to 30 hours in, and I can probably see myself putting a good another 10 hours into this at least, maybe 20. I don't know how long the end game is. But it is really, really fun. And if you're sitting on the fence going, oh, I'm not sure, I'd say check it out. There is a demo, if the demo's still available. That's how I got into the game, saw the demo and got into the game, and yeah, just gelled with it and loved it. So if you're sat there thinking, oh, it's a gacha game, it's not. And it's a really, really good fun, if you want something to kill the next month to get through to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's a really, really good game, and I'd highly recommend Namaya as your first unlock because she is really good. But thank you very much, everyone. Full playlist is on the channel. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts of the game are. And I will see you all in the next one.